thank you so much for joining me, those of you that are here. And this is my online workshop, so a 60-minute workshop on creating meaningful visualizations for children and teens. And a lot of this you can also apply to working with adults as well. So this is a super practical formula, step-by-step process in which you can create meaningful visualizations for children and teens. So hopefully it's going to be very valuable for you. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Laura, founder and lead teacher of Divine Light Yoga, which is a Yoga Alliance registered school. And I've been working full-time in the world of yoga for the last five and a half years. And prior to that, I was an early years educator. So I worked for many, many years in international schools, special needs centres, working as family support in community centres. So I have over 18 years worth of experience of working with children, teens and families. And meditation, and particularly visualizations, is something that I am particularly passionate about. It's something that I use in my daily practice. And the reason that I chose this topic for our workshop today is because I'm asked by so many parents, educators, and yoga teachers for audios or scripts on visualizations. And I have to say that you can spend a lot of time Googling and trying to find some audios or videos of visualizations. But I just feel that when you write them yourself and when you guide them, you're really speaking from your heart, and the children are much more engaged. It's much more interesting for you. And it's just all round more beneficial than just popping on that audio. So this is why I wanted to share visualizations, so that you can script your own, so that you can hopefully enjoy writing and creating these meaningful visualizations, and then get to a point where you can actually just speak them from your heart and not actually have to write them all down. So I'm guessing that most of you are here today for one of two reasons. It might be that you're completely new to visualizations and leading meditations. And so maybe you're not sure where to start. Maybe you're looking for a little bit of inspiration. Hopefully I'll be able to give you all of that inspiration as well as confidence in your own meditation skills. So either you're brand new to visualizations and you're looking for a step-by-step process of where to start, or maybe you are like me about 6 years ago, you're trying to write visualizations, but you're just finding many blocks. Maybe you're finding real frustration, like I was, in being able to piece it all together. So about 6 years ago, when I was using visualizations on a daily basis for my own practice, I saw so much benefit. I really wanted to share this with children and teens. But every time I went to guide a visualization or sit and write one, I just could not find the words. I couldn't figure out the form. I couldn't get the sequence together. And to be honest, I couldn't really understand why I was so unable to do this. It was just like my brain froze. So although I had all the words, the age-appropriate language, the storytelling techniques, I just couldn't get these visualizations together. So it really was a frustrating process for me. And after a lot of reading and research and some one-on-one coaching, which was really valuable, and a lot of practice, visualizations are now one of my favorite, in fact, probably the favorite element of any class that I lead. And that's whether it's with young children, teenagers, or adults. And I do hope that after this workshop that you too find this passion and can connect to your creativity and really see the value in visualizations for children. All right, so let's move on. I've got a little presentation to share with you here. So I'm just going to share my screen. And then hopefully you should be able to see. This is quite cool because I can see a lot of you guys as well in your videos. I'm not sure if you can all see each other. But so I'm here in the corner, and hopefully you can see my presentation here as well. So I'm just going to flip up to the top and share this with you. All right. So this is an 8-step process that we're going to go through today. We're actually going to do it practically together. So as I said at the beginning, this is going to be super practical so that you can leave with not only feeling inspired and confident, but you can actually leave with a visualization that you've scripted that you can use immediately today or on Monday with the children that you're working with. So our focus for today is really for me to help you to understand how to write visualizations, how to guide them, but also how to define it for different age groups, different themes that you might be working with, and also the different needs of the children. So we all know that every individual child and every group of children has different needs. So tailoring your visualizations for those particular groups of children. My second major focus for today is to help you to overcome any blocks, frustration, or confusion about how to write visualizations creatively. And then thirdly, I want you to walk away after this 60 minutes, not only with a simple, easy to apply formula, but an actual script that you have written creatively with meaning, and for you to gain some real confidence in guiding your visualizations, so not just writing them, but also confidence in guiding them. So, because this is going to be really practical, you need to grab yourself a pen and a notebook, because as I said, we're going to be going through these steps and we're actually going to be doing them. So either grab a pen and a notepad, or if you don't have a pen, then write it on your phone, write it on your laptop. If you don't have any of those, write it on a napkin. So any kind of tool in which you can write right now. So just take a moment to go and grab one. And the reason that I'm doing it like this, where we're actually doing it practically together, is because it would be really easy for you to sit here for 60 minutes, listen to me talk about visualizations and all these steps, but then go away and completely forget to do it all. Or think, oh yeah, that was great, I learned a lot, I'm going to implement that next time, and then you don't ever get around to it. So if we do it together today, then by the end of this 60 minutes, you're going to have one visualization there that you have created with meaning that you can go ahead and use straight away, and that is just going to get the creative juices flowing, that is going to build your confidence, and it's going to give you the motivation to continue to write visualizations. So go and grab a pen, piece of paper, set up whatever you need in order to get writing with me. Okay, so has everybody got a pen and a piece of paper, or some sort of tool that writes, even if it's an eyeliner and a napkin? All right, so step one. First of all, choose your age group. So it might be that you're a parent and you know your age group because you plan to use this at home. Maybe you're an educator and you have a specific age group that you work with in your class. Or maybe you're not currently working with children and you want to, well, you could apply this to adults, or you can choose your favorite age group. So I personally love doing this with teenagers because you can really go in depth with visualizations. So choose your age group and then just write that down. Then choose your theme. So for those of you that know me, you know that I'm very big on themes, and that every class I lead, whether the children are 2 years old or whether they're adults, I always have a theme. This just gives you and the children some focus and direction, and make sure it all comes together and is centered rather than it being really sporadic and a little bit random. So choose a theme. So it could be, again, that you're an educator and you're working with a particular theme in your school, or maybe you're a yoga teacher and you're working with a particular theme already. That theme could be anything from ocean to in the forest, or it might be a theme of a quality that you're trying to cultivate with your children. So maybe self-love, gratitude, kindness. So whatever it is, just choose one theme, the first thing that comes into your head. And remember, this is just kind of a practice run, so it doesn't have to be perfect. If you're like me, you probably have 12 to 15 ideas going through your head now. Just pick one and stick with it for the rest of the workshop. And then write down just 2 to 4 key words. And these key words are what you would like to cultivate. So what kind of qualities do you want to introduce to the children or reinforce to the children? So if these are probably related to your theme. So for example, if your theme is self-love, then maybe your key words would be love, compassion, kindness. If your theme is the sunshine, then maybe your key words are related to the qualities of the sun, so possibly strong and powerful. Okay, so just choose 2 to 4 key words, and these are the words that we're going to be using throughout the visualization. So these key words are whatever you want to introduce, whatever you want to cultivate within these children. So meaningful keywords of qualities or elements that you would like the children to be introduced to or to enhance. Okay, so just write those down. And these are words, as I say, we're going to come back to because repetition is great for children and teens. It is a great way for them to learn. So once you've got those 2 or 3 or 4 keywords, we're going to move on to our step 2. So by now, you've got your age group, your theme, and your keywords. Step 2 is the preparation phase. And again, for those of you that know me and who have taken our online course in meditation for children, you will know that I talk a lot about preparation, and that the preparation phase is equally as important as the meditation itself. This is the stage in which you are giving children permission to move, to make choices about their space, to get them focused and centered so that they are fully prepared and ready for the meditation. So firstly, you may want to open up with just one sentence about what is going to happen, particularly if you're working with younger children. So it might be, we're going to go on a journey in our imagination for 5 or 6 minutes. That's all they need to know. So you don't need to go in depth about what a visualization is or how it's going to be beneficial for them. You can just say one sentence about what it is that they're going to be doing. Obviously, if you're working with teens, they love to know the benefits, they love to know why. In fact, if you tell them and give them reasons and explanations, they're more likely to stay focused and engaged. So you can give teens a little bit of an idea of why they're doing it and what it's going to be like and encourage them to stay focused. So once you've explained exactly what it is, it's going to take 5, 6 minutes or 10, 12 minutes. Then give them a choice of, I would say, 2 poses. So it may be you can lie down in Shavasana or you can go into child's pose. You can sit up in a cross-legged position or you can sit in Virasana on your heels. So giving them a choice of 2 poses, so they've got that freedom to choose, but at the same time you're saying, okay, now we're going to be finding a place of stillness, find somewhere that you feel comfortable, that you're in your own space, where you can stay for the length of the visualization. Give them permission to move. So especially for the little ones, they need this. So, you know, it might be shaking out their whole body. For older ones, it may be that they're just moving their head from side to side, shuffle their shoulders, you know, rotate their wrists so that they can find some stillness. Finding stillness through movement. Okay, so getting all of the little bits of energy and wiggles and shakes that they need to get out of their body in order to find a place of stillness. And then lastly, get them focused and centered. So once they've gone into their Shavasana or their child's pose, rather than going straight into the visualization, you need to get their mind focused, because chances are their mind is thinking about 5 other things. And if you go straight into your visualization, they're not going to be engaged and they're not going to be focused. So getting them centered by doing a quick body scan, or getting them to focus on their breath just for 4 or 5 breaths. It might be that you get them to count their breath, or do a quick pranayama technique such as humming deep breath. So do it, just spending, even if it's just 30 seconds, to get them focused and centered so that they are really prepared mentally and physically to go into this visualization. So you're going to take a few moments just to think about, and write this down as well, because this is part of the visualization. Write down your preparation stages. So what 2 poses are you going to give them a choice of? How are you going to give them permission to move? Are you going to tell them to wriggle their body? Are you going to tell them that they can find a space within the room? You know, maybe they can go out of the circle and they can find a space wherever feels good for them. And then how are you going to get them focused and centered? So we can keep it pretty simple for this one. It could just be that you're going to do a quick body scan of the major body parts. Or it could be that you're going to get them to mentally count their breath from 5 to 1. So just take a few moments to write down those 3 preparation stages. Okay, is everybody still with me? Okay, so stage 3 is, where is the visualization taking place? So this is where we can start to get nice and creative. So is your visualization going to be somewhere in nature? It might be, it might actually be related to your theme. So if your initial theme was the ocean, for example, go a little bit deeper. How is the ocean going to be involved in your visualization? Is it that the visualization takes place on the beach, or is it that they're in a boat in the ocean? If your theme is forest, are they in a tropical rainforest, or are they in a snowy forest? Some other ideas might be, I mean, literally anywhere within nature. So it might be in a waterfall or near a waterfall, a secret garden, a lavender field, in the mountains. Or you could take them to a more mystical place. It might be a magical castle, or you could take them to like maybe a cabin in the mountains, or in a little cottage with a log fire. So where is your visualization going to take place? And again, it might be that you are blown away by how many ideas you have, so just pick one. Or it might be that you're really struggling to get creative, and in which case I would just suggest taking some inspiration from this photo here, and maybe your visualization is going to take place on the beach. That's always a good one for any age at all. Everyone's had experience, no, not everyone, but the majority of children have had some experience of the beach. Even children who are in the city probably have been to the beach, or at least seen some photos or videos of the beach. So the beach is always a good go-to. So write down just where your visualization is taking place. And then step 4 is where we're really getting creative. So we're going to paint the picture for the children, but still allow some room for creativity. So we want to put some little details in there, but we want to allow them to really connect with their intuition and with their imagination and with their own creativity by allowing some space. So first of all, we'll start with what can they see? So again, remembering where you've decided to locate your visualization, what can they see? So if they're, for example, if they're in a sunflower field, you could start with, you can see sunflowers all around you. The sky is blue with clouds floating by. So I'm starting to paint the picture there of what they can see, but I'm not putting so much detail in that there's no room for creativity. It's really open. I'm saying that they've seen sunflowers, that they are, you could even say that they're lying down or they're sitting down. They're looking up at the sky and they're seeing clouds. Now, if I went really detailed with that, if I said, you're lying down in a sunflower field, the sunflowers are so tall, they're bright yellow with 6 leaves, and you're looking up at the sky and you can see big clouds the shape of hearts. I'm limiting the children, okay? So keeping it open, painting the picture, but leaving room for creativity. So for you, what can they see? And you can just keep it super simple and just write down now, you can see. Okay? And we'll just do 1 or 2 sentences for what the children can see in your visualization. So remembering that, of course, you want to keep it so that it's in line with your theme and why you faced it. So obviously, if you are basing it in a sunflower field, they cannot see a polar bear. They can see flowers or butterflies or birds or clouds. So then the next thing after this, after where you've told them you're in a sunflower field, you can see blah, blah, blah. And then I would heavily suggest that you write, you feel safe and calm. And the reason for this is that we're guiding children through their own imagination, and that can bring up a lot of insecurities, images that they have there in their mind. Even as an adult, we know sometimes when we go into our own minds, we connect with our intuition or imagination, it can bring up all sorts of visions, some things that we don't want to see. So we want to make sure that the children feel safe and calm in their own imagination, in their own visual journey. And this is the only time that I tell children how they feel. So I never tell them the emotion that they feel. I never say, you feel happy, you feel excited, you feel joyous, because maybe they don't at that time. And we don't want to push children to make them feel that they must have this emotion. We actually want children to connect to the emotion that they are currently feeling and to be able to experience that and work through it. So telling the children that they feel safe and calm just reassures them, makes them feel secure, and also prevents any images, any visions that could potentially be scary or fearful for them. So if safe and calm are not words that you particularly connect with, you can choose another couple of words. I sometimes use quiet or at peace. So you can choose a couple of words there that are just essentially helping the children to feel really secure and quiet and calm. The next one is, what can they smell? And sometimes I will just, again, keep it super simple. You can smell the flowers, they smell sweet. Doesn't have to be poetic. It can be. If you are very creative with your words, then by all means, put in some awesome, creative, inspirational language. But if you're sat there struggling already with this, keep it super simple. So what is the thing that you've told them they can see? Can they smell that? So you can smell pine leaves. They smell earthy, so it can be super, super simple. And again, just write 1 or 2 sentences for that, as simple or as poetic as you like. Remembering to keep it open and allowing room for creativity. The other thing is, if you put a lot of words, a lot of vocabulary in there, it can just create a bit of confusion, and sometimes there can be too much words, too many words, and then the children go off track and their mind starts to wander off to another place. So keeping it simple can be the best solution sometimes. So what can they smell? And then what can they hear? So it's really nice, again, if you associate it or connect this to hearing natural sounds. So can they hear birds tweeting or insects buzzing or the wind, the breeze? So what can they hear? Maybe they can hear the leaves rustling or a fire crackling. And again, this is where we want to keep the language nice and soft and calm and avoid any potential shocks or visions coming up to the children. So if they are in a forest, we don't want to tell them that they can hear a tiger, because instantly that is going to bring up emotions of fear. So feelings of fear and or possible anxiety. So we want to keep everything soft and light and just very secure and warming and soothing in general. So anything that is soothing and calming that they can hear. So you can hear birds buzzing and insects buzzing around. I don't know, but you could just choose maybe one or two things that they can hear. And then lastly, what can they feel? And again, this is not about what they can feel emotion-wise, but what they could feel physically whilst in that visual journey. So can they feel the wind on their skin? Can they feel the warmth of the sun? So what can they feel and how does it feel? So you feel the sun on your skin. It feels warm and soft, for example. So again, just one or two sentences about how it feels and what they can feel and how it is. And again, keeping that language nice and soothing and calming. Okay, so by now you should hopefully have your focus, have your keywords. You've got your location, and then you're starting to describe, paint the picture for the children, either very simply or a little bit more poetically with the language that you use, so that the children are now at a place where they can really see, smell, hear, and feel within their visual journey. The next step, so step 5 is what are they doing? So you've painted this picture that they're lying down in their sunflower field, they're looking at the clouds, but then what are they doing? So this is the point where you can really start to make it meaningful and really start to work with their subconscious. So I tend to choose an action in which their subconscious can then push through some messages or meanings. So for example, you're looking at the sky, watching shooting stars, and making a wish on every star. So they're not active, you're not telling them what they're wishing for, and they're not actively thinking, just that message, that connection to their intuition is coming through. Again, it could be something like you're writing in your journal, and you're writing down all of the things that you would like to bring into your life. And again, it's that subconscious level, so they're able to see what they're writing down, but they're not actively thinking about it because they're already in a deep relaxation. You've brought them to this deep relaxation. You've painted the picture for them, so they're already really focused. And now you're letting their intuition, their creativity, and their subconscious come through with any messages that they need to see or what it is that they need to feel or hear. So some examples are writing in a journal, drawing in the sand is a nice one. So whatever it is that they see themselves drawing is probably a message or something that they really need to listen to. You could do seeing shapes in the clouds, for example. Maybe even not necessarily just visual, but maybe you can hear something. So even the beach, listening inside a big shell, what can you hear? And that's a way. So it's not just, so not everyone is going to be a visual learner. So, getting that auditory sense in as well. So some other examples that I've got here is just that they're walking through the rainforest towards a waterfall. Then maybe when they get to the waterfall, that's when they sit and listen to the waterfall, or they write in their journal. It might be that they're lying under a tree, watching the clouds float by, or as I say, writing in a journal or a diary, or creating a picture of some kind. So again, just write down, it could just be 1 or 2 sentences, not to be overloading, not to be putting too many words in there, just 1 or 2 sentences on an action, so that the visualization becomes a little bit more meaningful. Their action may be that they embody an animal. So for example, they become an eagle and they fly across the forest, or they become an animal that they've seen in their visualization. Maybe you can just leave it open and say, you see an animal, you connect with that animal, and then you become that animal and move through the forest as that animal. So again, just the actual, whatever it is that they see, whatever their intuition brings towards them, is really where the meaning is in this visualization. Okay, so hopefully you've got 1 or 2, or maybe you've got 3 or 4 sentences, but as I say, try not to overload it too much. Okay, let's move on to step 6. The step 6 is all about mantras and intentions, and this is where your keywords will come back in. So mantras can be very, very powerful. If you have a practice of mantras, then you'll know what I'm talking about. Mantras are used typically as a form of meditation in itself, or they're also used in yoga nidra, and I personally use mantras on a daily basis. I find them to be really, really powerful. So when you add them into a visualization, they can be very valuable, very beneficial for children and teens. So coming back to your keywords, it might be that you're using a mantra that is I am. So if your keywords were strong and powerful, I am strong and powerful. So I am kind and loving. So look at your keywords and see if you can turn them into a mantra, because this is really going to help you to cultivate those qualities within the children, within your session, within your class. So mantras should be always positive, tends to be I am blah blah, but there are some other ways in which you can use them. I can, but where possible, use I am, because that's a really, really strong reinforcement to themselves of I am. So it might be that you've painted your picture, you've given them the action, and then you tell them to say to themselves, say to yourself 3 times, I am strong and powerful. I am strong and powerful. And just give them a few moments to mentally repeat that to themselves, because that is where the power of the mantra is. So that they are repeating that mantra to themselves rather than just listening to you saying it. Another thing that you can do, if you're not using mantras, you can get the children to set an intention at this point. So again, that can be related to your keywords. So it might be that you ask them, if your theme is loving kindness, set an intention to be kind and loving to every person and being that you see today. Could be really simple. You can give them the intention. Again, if it's something that you are working with, particular keywords, set the intention. So say to yourself, I am kind and loving, and set the intention that you will be kind and loving to yourself every day for the next week. Okay, so you can work with mantras and intentions together, or you can just do one or the other. But I can assure you they are both very, very powerful, and it's just a great way to slip in some your keywords and some subliminal messages into the children during their visualization, because they're already really focused and engaged. So you've got them at that point where they're super focused, more focused than they probably would be in the rest of the day. And then that's when you can really use these powerful words, introduce these powerful words to them. Okay. So just for now, write down one mantra or an intention related to your keywords that you put at the beginning of our session, the beginning of our time together. All right, moving on to the last 2 steps. So we've got step 7, And this is all about giving them time and space. So you've given them their mantra, you've told them to say it to themselves 3 times. How long are you going to give them to focus on that mantra and focus on that visualization? So if you've told them the mantra and you've said, you're looking up at the sky and you're seeing the shooting stars, you need to give them time to see that. So I know this might sound very obvious, but I've been in classes before where teachers have given them, painted this beautiful picture and said, you're flying across the forest like an eagle, and now open your eyes. And it's like, well, they haven't had time. You've painted this beautiful picture and you haven't given them any time to be in it. So you've set an action, you've told them to do an action within their mind, and then you haven't given them any time to do it. So how long are you going to give them? And this is really dependent, firstly on their age, but mostly on the specific group of children that you're working with. So if you have a particular child or a group of children in mind right now, think about realistically, how long are they going to stay focused on that visualization without any guidance? So you've guided them through it, but you then need to give them some time and space for quiet, for silence. So for some children, 30 seconds is actually going to be enough, because after 30 seconds, you're going to lose them. For some children, especially teens, they need 3, sometimes 5 minutes to be in that visualization. But you want to make sure that it's not too short and not too long. We don't want them, if it's too short, then they don't get the space to actually stay in the visualization. If it's too long, then they'll probably fall asleep, or they'll get agitated and wriggly and start to come out of it and disrupt others. So you can just test it to start with. Maybe just start with 1 minute. And then after the visualization, speak to the children, get some feedback from them. How was it? Did you like it? Blah, blah, blah. Ask some reflective questions, and then get the response. And maybe just start to increase that from 1 minute to then 70 seconds. And then the next time might be 80 seconds. So you're gradually increasing that space and the time that you give to them to be in their visualization. And then decide, are you going to leave them in silence at this time? Which is great. Silence definitely has a place in meditation. Or are you going to play background music or maybe sounds to enhance the visualization? So for example, if your visualization is taking place in the mountains, you might want to play some sort of sounds of birds. Or if you're by the ocean, then maybe you play sounds of the ocean just to enhance that visualization a little bit more. Or it might be that you just play soothing music in the background, or even something like the singing bowls. So decide right now on the visualization that you're currently working on, are you going to play background music? Are you going to play singing bowls? Are you going to have sounds? Or are you going to leave them in silence? And again, this can sometimes come down to the particular group that you're working with. If you've got a lot of musical learners in there, then you may want to play some music or sounds in the background to keep them fully focused and engaged. So as you've decided on how long you're leaving them and how you're going to leave them, we'll move on to our final step, which is step 8. And this is bringing them back into their body. So it's equally as important as the preparation stage and as the visualization itself. I cannot tell you how many times I've observed teachers guiding a beautiful visualization, and then instantly they say, okay, and now just open your eyes and sit up. And they've gone from a really calm, deep, relaxed state to all of a sudden, bam, okay, let's wake up now, here you are in the classroom. There has to be a transition, and it's a way to guide them back into their physical body and away from their intuition, away from their imagination, bring them back into the room slowly and keep that calm, steady, slow state. So they're actually waking up, coming out of this visualization, feeling the benefits. So some ways in which you can get them to transition from the visual journey back into their body is bringing their attention back to their physical body. So again, it could be Notice your body resting on the ground, or start to move your fingers and your toes. Get them to focus on their breath. So maybe they start to deepen the breath, or even just start to count the breath or focus on the breath. Get them to focus on their heart rate. So they're going from their vision and their intuition to them focusing on their heart rate. Can they feel their heartbeat? Then maybe taking some deep breaths. You can get them to notice their surrounding sounds, so bringing them instantly back into the room. Or you can use some singing bowls or a bell or a chime again to just bring them back into their body, back into the room. So I tend to use a mixture of these. I will usually, from the visual journey, give them a minute or two, and then say, start to focus on your breath. Let's deepen the breath. This is a good one as well, because you can really see how engaged and who's engaged, because if they start to deepen the breath, then you know that they are staying with you. If they're not, then they've either drifted off or they're actually asleep. So I get them to focus on the breath, then bring attention back to the body, and then I get them to notice the surrounding sounds, which is particularly nice if you're doing a session outside. So those are the 8 steps. So just write down now, just quickly, how are you going to bring them back into their body? So after you've written down how much time you're going to leave for them, now just write down how are you going to bring them back into their body. Are you going to bring their attention back to their breath, back to the physical body? Or are you going to use your singing bowls? So those are the 8 steps of the actual visualization. Once you've got them to come to a seat, I would really encourage you to allow some time to share. So the visualizations can really bring a lot up. So it can bring up emotions, it can bring up some real discoveries and realizations. And I find that children and adults as well are really eager to share after their visualization. So if you have time, an open sharing circle is really wonderful. But again, if you don't have the time, or you have a group that like to talk a lot, then you may want to cut that and just do some partner sharing. So give them 1 minute each to share with their partner their experience of their visualization. Now, they don't have to share, so that's important to reinforce that with the children. They can share. I find that the majority of the time they do share. But if they don't want to, that's also completely fine. Another way is through journaling. So if you're doing something a little bit more personal, maybe you're working on forgiveness or self-love or empowering children, then journaling is a good way, because it allows them to release anything that's come up, to process anything that's come up, any emotions or thoughts or visions, but they don't have to share anything personal with the rest of the group. So those are 3 just great, easy techniques to allow the children to share after their visualizations. And then finally, you want to reread your visualization. So just check over the visualization that you all hopefully have now. Hopefully you all stayed with me. Take some time to just read through it. And you might be reading it and thinking, oh, this is just so simple. Simple is good. Simple is great, because children need, first of all, they need repetition to learn, but keeping it simple allows them to stay engaged and focused. Putting too many words in there, even though it can sound so beautiful and poetic, it can be really difficult for some children to stay focused when they're lying down with their eyes closed. So take some time to read it, and then check it. Have you created a space where they do feel safe, where they can explore their creativity and connect to their intuition? Is the language appropriate as well? That's something to think about. So if you've chosen to write a visualization for teens, make sure that the language is not too childish, but also that they can easily follow it, and vice versa. So if you're working with children who are younger, it definitely needs to be simple language that they can follow quite easily. So check it over. Read it with confidence. And then you need to practice guiding it. So you can definitely just go out there and practice it on Monday morning with the children that you're working with, or this evening with your children at home if you're a parent or a caregiver. Another way to practice it, if you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I can actually do this right now, you can practice it with someone at home, whether it's your partner or your mother or a sister or a friend. You can practice guiding it. Even if you're doing it over Skype, you can practice guiding it. Or another great technique is to record yourself saying it and then listen to it. So record yourself saying the visualization so you can see how long it is the language appropriate, also the way in which you're guiding it. You want to keep a nice, slow, steady, regular pace rather than dragging out all of your words or speeding up and speaking really fast, which is what a lot of us do when we feel nervous. So practicing guiding it will really help you with that slow, steady pace, which children can keep up with it, and it's a nice rhythm. One technique in order to keep that steady pace is to only speak on the exhale. And I used to do this a lot when I first started teaching yoga. And now it just becomes natural. So I will take an inhale and then I will speak on the exhale and say one sentence, and then I'll inhale again and only speak on the exhale. So that way you can't speak too much. You can't try and fit the whole visualization to one breath. It really creates that naturally slow, steady pace that the children need. So practice guiding it either independently by recording it yourself and then listening and doing the visualization yourself. That is the best way to do it. I know it's a bit weird to listen to your own voice, and I can hear most of you now saying, I don't want to do that. I hate the sound of my voice. It's a really good way to learn and practice. But if that's not for you, just go out there and practice with, quite honestly, anyone who is eager to listen and anyone who's playful and interested and who you feel safe and comfortable with. So those are the 8 steps. I hope you now all have a visualization there in front of you that you feel comfortable with, confident with, and this is all just practice. So this is just something that we've gone through fairly quickly, and you can obviously go over that and change it and adapt it and edit it, but those are the stages to go through when you want to create something meaningful, a really meaningful visualization for the children that's not just let's lie down, think about we're on the beach and then that's it. Visualizations should be meaningful because they are so powerful. They can be so powerful and so valuable. All right, well, thank you so much, everybody, to those of you that were able to join live. I really appreciate it. It's so great to see some of your faces and your names here, so thank you so much.